Welcome back, dear listeners, to another episode of Susan Lopresti Wellness, Mind, Body, and Soul, the podcast where we explore the highs, the lows, and everything in between when it comes to a woman's life, her health, and all aspects of navigating the midlife landscape. I'm your host, Susan Lopresti, and today I'm getting really raw again with some of my own personal experiences. And I think 2 weeks ago, I talked about my experience with alcoholism or a loved one who had alcoholism in his life, in his family, and he did as well. And I talked about that. And, it's we're coming into December and it's holiday season in full swing, and it's a wonderful time of year for most people. But there are people out there who find it to be the worst time of year for them because they're lonely or they're sad or they lost a loved one or, a whole family of loved ones. There's a lot of sadness in the holiday season as well. And so that's why I wanted to come on today. And I want to talk about mental illness. And, mental illness touches everyone's life, just the way addiction does. There's like a certain degree of separation. I think with alcoholism, I don't remember if it was 3 degrees or 7 degrees. It doesn't matter. But there's always someone that you love who knows of. There's always a connection. And the connection to mental illness is really strong. And it's an epidemic at this point. And it's a lot of the reasons for a lot of the crimes are committed by people who have mental illness and who don't have the right medication or not getting the treatment, or it's just being ignored or swept under the rug. Or it could also be a part of their addiction. So a lot of people who are addicted to drugs have mental illness. And they're almost like self-medicating, but it doesn't really work out. And so I want to speak from experience in my own life, my own family. My dad's side of the family, there were members of that side of the family that definitely had mental illness. I want to say probably depression. I mean, it was swept under the rug. So it wasn't talked about openly, but it was there, right? So I don't know who or what, but I know that there was family members who tried to commit suicide, but they were saved from that. There were family members, I believe, that had some kind of shock treatment. There were family members who, if they had like some binge drinking going on, once they were over the binge drinking, they went into a depression and weren't able to go to work and things like that. So, like I said, these illnesses weren't spoken to me openly. They were things that I found out through the grapevine. So I can't say that they had bipolar or anxiety or depression or addiction, because it was hush hush. And if you know anything about addiction or anything about mental illness, is the worst thing that you could do is keep it a secret and sweep it under the rug, because all you're doing is feeding it. You're allowing it to continue. You're allowing it to go on. And that's the worst thing that you could do. And from my own personal experience, when I announced it, that this was going on in my life, and this is a lot of it calmed down because they were exposed. And mental illness is not something that you should be embarrassed of. If you had cancer, or you had a gallbladder stones, or you had a heart condition, or you're not embarrassed by that, right? It happens, and then you want to deal with it and heal head on. Well, a lot of times with mental illness and also addiction, you don't want to heal it. You want to keep it a secret. You're allowing it to manifest greater and just become really unmanageable. So, like I said, I have family members. I also have family members, um, two that were very close to me, and one that was a distant relative that committed suicide. And that was on my mom's side of the family. And, on my mom's side of the family, I don't know of anyone who suffered with depression or anxiety or anything else, but would I say that my mom's side of the family were all normal? Let's not go there. But, there was definitely addiction in my mom's side of the family, but I really don't know, or it was never spoken about again, that hidden, the secrets that you take to the grave with you. There could have been mental illness on my mom's side of the family. So let me speak for myself. I think I did at one point have a little bit of depression. It was because of a breakup, and I was really devastated by it. And I'm not going to get into the details of it. I won't say if I was very young at the time, or, in my 50s or 60s, but there was a time in my life where a breakup pretty much put me over the edge at one point, and I really struggled, both emotionally, but then those symptoms and that depression manifested physically for me as well. And so I had all kinds of body aches and different ailments going on. And I actually feel like it was that trauma. I'm going to call it a trauma because it really hit me like a trauma. That trauma really affected me emotionally and physically. And, I've moved past it and I've healed from it, and I'm so much better off. But there was definitely issues on both sides of my family that was swept under the rug and wasn't talked about, and it was hidden. And I feel like on both sides of the family, that just fueled the fire to continue. And so it's December and the holidays are here, and I just think it's a good time to talk about mental illness and addiction because it's real, and I don't want to fluff up the holidays and make them like the grandest thing, and because there are people who don't feel like that. So I want to cater this month to those people. And I do have a guest who's coming on next week who's going to be very open about her own struggle with depression and mental health. And it's her story to share. And I think that it's going to be an eye opener. And then I want to also say to you that if you or someone you know has a struggle with addiction or mental illness and would like to share that experience on my podcast, I would be so grateful for that, because you guys who have struggled or have experience with these two topics, you don't know how much your words could be helping somebody else. right? What you have to say may be exactly what someone else needs to hear. So if it's not a secret and you're willing to share your experience with mental illness or addiction, I would love to have you on my podcast. So please reach out to me. You could go to my website, www.susanlopresti.com. You could schedule a free 30-minute, well, it's called a health assessment, but for this purpose, we'll use the same form because I'm not going to create a new one. So go on my website and schedule that 30-minute health assessment with me, and we'll talk about your experience and see if it's something that you and I would both like to share on my podcast. I would really appreciate that very, very much. So until the next time, please be happy, right? There's so much sadness in this world right now, and so much upheaval and uncertainty and just chaos. So if you can get into the zone in some way, somehow, and I do meditation circles, so also look for that or reach out to me and I'd be happy to share with you where I do them. We need to come into ourselves, right? We need to get into our body, and we need to embody our feelings and put them out, put out into the universe what you envision the world to be, what you envision your life to be, your business to be, your family to be. Put it out there. And with these meditations that I offer, you could get into that groove. You could embody what you want to manifest and let it begin to happen. So this is the month of December that we're coming into, and I want to do as many podcast episodes as possible. So if you have a story to share about mental illness or addiction, whether it's yours or someone you love or an experience that you've had, please reach out to me. So until the next time, be well, stay happy, and bye for now. Take good care.